And one thing that we all wanted to do when Formula 1 came to the BBC was to take the fans closer than they'd ever been before. And I think there's a reason why all these people love Martin's grid walks. And that's because he takes you this close to an F1 car, and 2 minutes before a race, kicks some poor mechanic out of the way and says that's the part that they don't want you to see and how you're seeing it on live TV. And that's what's great about that. And I think us going into garages and grabbing hold of people and not having a running order and not having an auto cue and being unscripted and having the red button after the race on the F1 forum and taking people into garages and showing them the celebrations. And basically, the characters and the emotions in a sport that's normally all about regimented technical engineering. I think it's an important part of our coverage, the honesty and the truth.
How is the grid walk going to work in 2011? Because obviously you've got a little bit of a jog to get from the grid up to the commentary box. Is that going to continue? Because I think it's become like Eric and Ernie at Christmas, really. The Brundle grid walk is an unmissable part of the it's become an unmissable part of the Formula 1 broadcast. Are you still going to be able to carry on doing that, or is there a way of finagling it so that you're going to be able to carry on doing that and nip up to the commentary box in time to start for the race?
All I'm going to do when I get there is talk about Formula 1. It's not that hard, I know a little bit about it, and the grid walk's just great fun. I love doing it. Geographically, and especially the new Tilke circuit, is actually very difficult because it involves tunnels and lifts and what have you. I don't know why everybody's so worried about it. I'll be just fine. But at ITV, I used to do 1 in 2 or 2 in 3 at the grids, because I find it actually to keep coming up with fresh stuff every other weekend along the same 24 drivers and a safety cars, quite hard to do actually. Now BBC have got me doing 10 or 11 minutes of live, unrehearsed, unscripted television. I know people like it, and so I'll carry on doing it as much as I can. But maybe it's a good chance to refresh that as well. I've been doing that for 14 years, so let's see how that goes. But I will definitely, it's what I'm becoming most famous for. Forget being World Sports Car Champion or winning Le Mans. I'm famous for the grid walks, but I'm not complaining. It's great, and if people enjoy it, and I think, as Jake always said, it's so unique in sport to be able to go right into the heart of the action just before sport happens. And we spoke to Sebastian Vettel probably 2 minutes before he pulled his skid lid on and went and won the World Championship. You can't walk into the centre circle of Wembley. You can't walk onto the tennis court at Wimbledon and do that. It's only in Formula 1 we can do that. Mostly because the drivers have got badges all over their overalls and they're forced to talk to us. But it is, you get right in the thick of the action. I think people at home enjoy being there, being transported onto the grid, and that's what I like doing. And yes, I will continue to do it.
Do you ever, when you're in the commentary box, do you ever actually find those moments where the information is actually coming at you far too quickly to assimilate? Because I remember many years ago, before you stepped into the commentary box, Jonathan Palmer actually being rendered incoherent when Eddie Irvine bounced his car off your head at Brazil. And he actually literally couldn't talk coherently because so much was going on. He was clearly thinking, is Martin dead? What's going on? Do you ever feel like that, or do you just have to concentrate on one particular thing?
My biggest concern when I first got the job with Murray in 1997 was, what am I going to say? How can we fill the time? And it's exactly the opposite problem, isn't it, Jake? Of how do we, I want to get more in. There's features. We sometimes make features on the Grand Prix weekend, 3 or 4 minute features that you're really proud of, taking hours to put together. They don't even make the show. It's always a job to get so much content. So I'm a car dealer. I've never lost for words. Nor will I be in 2011.
Well, gentlemen, it has come to that time when we're going to throw this out to the audience, and this is the scary bit, isn't it? I have to be a really unpleasant person, and I have to pick one person. The first person to ask the question. Someone gate crashed earlier on and asked Jodie Scheckter to put a pair of sunglasses on for her art project. So no art projects, please. I'm going to ask someone to ask you a question. That person will then get 2 tickets to Silverstone. Shall I just do a blindfold thing? The person who's nearest to where I'm pointing, one of you say stop. One of these 2 gentlemen. Yeah.
Stop! I need the scarf.
I was just wondering what the thing do you think they have a chance of being
Yeah, I think this this is the put up or shut up time for the new teams now. I think last year they had the chance to say, well, you know, we are one of the new teams, and actually that doesn't apply any longer. They've had an entire season to get themselves going, and they've had an entire off-season to build the car. Obviously they're not going to be where McLaren are and where Ferrari are, but Nick Worth continues to tell everybody that as far as he's concerned, you know, designing his car on a computer will one day be the way that Formula One operates, and so he now needs to have a really strong car this year to prove that point. I think Lotus have shown that they're clearly willing to spend an awful lot of money. They're talking about building a wind tunnel in Norfolk, and they've got a great team behind them, and they've got lots of sort of Lotus issues going on, but they'll still be concentrating on their car. I think the only concern for people would be Hispania at the moment, because we haven't heard any concrete information from them about their car and when their car will be released. I think that's fair to say, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm generally very supportive of the new teams because I like variety on the grid. They can't all be Ferrari and McLaren, because if you follow that to its logical extreme, there'll be just four teams running 5 cars each or something. You have to have fresh blood coming in. And where are we going to find the Fernando Alonso's and the Sebastian Vettels and Mark Webbers if they don't have the back end of the grid teams for these guys? There's no testing anymore, so that's essential, but they've got to be credible as well. And so I completely agree with Jake. It's get on with it. I remember saying on the TV early last year, we've got to cut these guys some slack. They started late, they don't have the same amount of money, but now they've got to show clear improvement. It doesn't mean they've got to win races. It means they've got to show progression, and I think Lotus will. We'll find out about Virgin, and I'm concerned that HRT will drop off the edge of the world.
Thank you very much. If you want to hang on for a bit after this.